This one's going to be fun.
Is this number 7?
You're number 6.
Am I number 6? Oh, good for me.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Editing Academy. I'm Darryl.
I'm Laura.
Laura, what are we here to talk about today?
We are here to talk about my number 6 favorite movie of all time, Dirty Dancing. Little clap.
Little baby clap.
There we go. So, tell me about Dirty Dancing.
So Dirty Dancing is my mom's favorite movie. I have seen it.
The facts. We should
Oh,
do the facts.
sorry.
That's right, you can tell me that stuff too. But.
Alright, so this was written by Eleanor Bergstein, produced by Linda Gottlieb, and directed by Emile Ardolino. Stars Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, Jerry Orbach, Cynthia Rose, Kelly Bishop. Was nominated for a bunch of things, actually. Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. These are all at the Golden Globes, not the Oscars. Best Actor in a Motion Picture for Patrick, Best Actress for Jennifer Grey, Best Original Song, and it did win for Song at the Golden Globes, and did win it for Song at the Oscars as well.
Very nice. All right. I'm going to start off with my relationship to the movie
Sure.
and the importance of the movie, and then I'm going to turn and see what your relationship to the movie is.
Okay.
So, first of all, I'm a 55-year-old woman in the world at large. I think that every woman my age has a relationship with this movie.
I would agree.
Most of us, I think, probably love it, but even those who don't love it for some bizarre reason, they probably spent their teens and their early 20s watching it in rec rooms, at sleepovers, in dorm rooms, in all of the places. The dialogue for the movie is in everyday use. You've got "Don't put baby in a corner," "I carried a watermelon." People just say these things. The Keds sneakers that every girl wore through college and through her 20s. Now, I love this movie and had all of that same experience, had the cassette in my car, or that we listened to all the time.
With Patrick singing as well.
Absolutely, She's Like the Wind. I also was an early Patrick Swayze convert because before Dirty Dancing was the North and South miniseries, based on the John Jakes books, which I had read and loved, and also starring James Reed, who was an actor who I really liked at the time. And so I watched North and South for James Reed, and I found Patrick Swayze. So I have a big relationship to this, and I remember most of my freshman year of college spent in different dorm rooms watching this movie with my friends.
And
so,
you get to watch Patrick with his shirt off for a big portion of it.
there is a big portion of that. That's not a bad thing. So the importance of this movie. I'm going to say that this movie is often trivialized and minimized for what it is, and I think that that is unfortunate because it is a heavily thematic movie.
Yes, it is.
So, we talk about, and you and I have talked a lot about the fact I get upset about literature and women's literature, fiction and women's fiction, and how that is always lesser than or other than. This is a coming-of-age story.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to be a woman's coming-of-age story, through and for women. But I think that its importance is underappreciated and minimized and diminished because the protagonist is a woman. So we'll get through to all the themes and the things that are important, and the Patrick Swayze shoulders of it all, which is also super important to me. And I'm not going to minimize that. But, all right, so what is your relationship to this movie?
So like I said, it was my mom's favorite movie, and she would play it often, so I've caught bits, so many different clips where I'd come home on Sunday afternoon, it would be on, things like that. I want to say, first off, thank you very much for your introduction, because one of the things that I was hoping to get away from this conversation, I'm sure you have a lot more to say, is why women of a particular age, and not I'm going to say a particular age only because of the time when it came out.
I would say 40 to 55, yeah. Or even 50 to 60.
Latch on to this movie, and I have never fully understood why so many do. Don't get me wrong, I think the movie is a very good and well-crafted movie. The performances are fantastic. The themes that it tackles, the subject matter that it tackles, the fact that it was a female protagonist never bothered me in any way, shape, or form. But I think you're now starting to answer some of the question that I've had for years: why so many women gravitate towards this movie and love it so much. There are a shit ton of coming-of-age movies for guys, or movies that guys can latch onto. There are not, particularly at this time, as many for women. So this makes so much more sense for me now.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so getting into obviously the coming of age, but I want to get into a couple of the themes. So first of all, there is the familial relationships. You've got the father-daughter relationship. You've got the mother-daughter. You've got sisterly bonds. You've got baby's sexual awakening. I mean, like, she is figuring out about Patrick Swayze and boys, and also people are, like, boys are being thrown in her face of, you need to start dating, you need to start choosing who your life partner is, because you need a life partner. You can't be alone out there. And so again, men are literally being thrown at her and her sister. Men are hired at the place in order to dance with all of the daughters, even the ugly ones. And so, like, all of these things, like, are coming at her, and she's trying to figure out her own world.
There are also men that just have this supposition that they are a great catch and she should be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
The guy who's running the camp, the younger kid who's running the camp, just assumes that he's such a great catch and that baby is going to absolutely fall for him because I'm so great, baby.
Yes.
He's disturbing and creepy.
Well, but he's disturbing and creepy, but her parents approve of him and are also throwing her in his path. The guy, his father, or I think it's his uncle, who owns the place, is also doing the same because, again, they're looking at her as a great catch. She's a doctor. She's a doctor's daughter. She's smart. She's going to college. This is a perfect pair. Why doesn't this work? Which brings me to the socioeconomic differences of, you know, the doctor's family and the great Jerry Arbach. You know, like, he is amazing in this. And also, you know, the Emily Gilmore is what I want to say, but his wife.
I think she. Sorry, I don't mean to step on you, but I think she was. It was her role. It was not her, but she's underutilized in the film. She does not have much to work with. She's just the supporting mom who loves her husband and loves her daughter and doesn't really have a lot.
She doesn't, but she's used in very, like, this movie does so much with so little. She's used in very small ways of, again, like, making sure she's pushing Lisa forward to, to get a catch, and talking about their looks and making sure that they're dressed appropriately, and she's doing the very motherly kind of stuff.
She also gets the, like, and I didn't notice it any other time that I've watched this, but the end scene where everybody's dancing, she's cutting a rug, man. She's out there having a grand time.
She got that from me. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, though, to see them because they think they're good people and they try to be good people and they talk about being good people. But when it comes down to it, will they really help people in need, or do they just believe in, I'm sure they give to charities. Yeah. Are they going to actually help people who need to be helped? And so that's a really good question.
And Dad does, definitely.
And Dad steps up. So, and of course, let's talk about how he steps up. Abortion is a huge piece of this movie. Penny needs herself an abortion.
Yep.
And there is no hemming, there is no hawing, there is no, the fact is that Penny's work and her livelihood depend on the fact that she cannot have a child right now. And no one tries to talk her out of that. No one asks her if she has looked at all of the different options available to her. Her choice and her decision are a very small point in this movie. It is about, this is what I need, and you are all going to support me in helping to get this. And I love that. Choice is huge. And again, everybody at that point is trying to help her get what she needs, not questioning why she's doing it.
Yeah, they're supportive, they're not judgmental.
Exactly. So I think those are the themes that kind of I get to. And then obviously we wrap it up in a love story, in a sex story, in dancing and singing, all of the excuse me, all of those things, but kind of thematically, do you have anything you want to kind of jump in on?
Well, this film is in the great tradition of how dance and enjoyment will corrupt the youth of America.
Footloose.
Which it has its own take on it, but it is in that camp.
Absolutely, I agree.
I enjoy that. I do like how this film does play with two very different worlds simultaneously. It handles both of them very well. It gives you the upper crust and what they do, the cheating, the infidelity, the disregard of people who are around them to be their servants. Like that is portrayed with its own intrigue and drama. And then you have the entire other world that is portrayed fuller than the other one, but both are absolutely explored, and they're simultaneous. And the crossover that happens, you understand because of the portrayals of both of these worlds. That, I think, is one of the strengths of the movie, is handling both of these worlds simultaneously.
Make no mistake, it is dancing Downton Abbey with Sybil running after the chauffeur, except for they're dancing while it's happening.
Sure.
Absolutely. I think the director makes some really good choices with the small things that get to be important later on, and doing so much with so little. Like in the beginning, they're in the car, Lisa is playing with her makeup, and Baby is reading a book.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know who these people are. You know, that is literally all I need. The little old couple that turn out to be the
thieves.
pickpockets,
Yeah.
exactly. They're in every scene they need to be. They're in the scene that you don't clock at first why they're there. You know, you're just nervous that they're there at the other resort. And, oh, I hope they're not seen, but actually it's the other resort where people are getting their stuff stolen. She dumps a whole bunch of wallets out of her purse. The guy is at the poker table when the person who accuses him of losing his wallet is at the poker table. So like they're everywhere they're supposed to be, and you don't even notice them because they're background, which I thought was interesting. And every person played their performance well. I can't see a single miscast in this. How about you for the casting?
No, I think the casting was spot on. You know, there are a lot of bit players in this, so they don't get a lot of screen time, and they don't really need to. They are. I mean, you could tell for a lot of the scenes with the staff, when their little area with the dancing, they were just hired dancers to be there to dance. And their dancing is highly sexualized, and that was the intent of it. It's also very good dancing.
It's almost dirty.
Yeah, exactly. It's the title.
Yeah.
Something that I meant to mention before. We never talk about the titles of films and whether
That's a
they're
good
appropriate.
point. Yeah.
For this one, I'll let you be the judge. I think the title is slightly misnamed. Like if you were to say Dirty Dancing, would you understand what that was? Because it sounds more porn than movie, but that's a whole different topic we can get into at a different time. I do really enjoy everybody's casting. I think they're all very well cast. One of the things that I didn't catch before that I definitely picked up on this time was the sibling rivalry of it all,
Oh yeah.
which is one-sided. Like, Baby loves her sister, but she could take or leave her sister because her sister's not into her things, but she does care for her. When her sister finally tells her, like, I'm going to sleep with this guy that we all know now is an absolute creep,
Sure. Yeah.
she tries to step up and talk her out of it, which obviously works in her disfavor. But that sister relationship I never really picked up on before, how well crafted it is, but also how one-sided it is.
It really is.
The one sister is just jealous of Baby because Baby's been Daddy's girl the entire time, and she wants that, and now she's happy that she's the one getting the attention.
Yep.
I like how those little moments are crafted as well.
Yep. I totally agree. And then kind of the last piece I want to talk about, which is probably one of the most important, is the dancing itself. So you have the dance sequences. You can see Jennifer Grey's growth as a dancer, which had to have been really hard because she was a good dancer. And so at the beginning, she has to be not that great a dancer. And then you can see, so she is actually acting quite a bit at the beginning. The other thing is, a lot of people know Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze did not get along and did not like each other. And a lot of the sequences where he is annoyed with her are actually him being annoyed with her. So it's not acting, it's just them letting the cameras roll. And so like at one point where she keeps giggling and he's like trying to get serious, you can see he's pissed off, and that's an actual scene of it. So they used some of the differences between the two actors in how they portray the characters, which I thought was really interesting. But I will say that their chemistry crackles, I think.
One of the things that I had heard multiple times was the scene where he runs his hands down.
That's the one where she giggles.
She just keeps giggling and giggling and giggling
Yep.
because he was tickling her and it was ticklish.
Yep.
So yes, but I had heard the same thing, that they famously did not get along and it was a difficult shoot for them to actually get through and all that. But having said that, both of them consummate professionals because they do have great chemistry on screen.
I agree. Yep.
One of the difficulties, speaking of the dancing, for me, is the end dancing scene.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. So tell me why it's difficult for you.
It's just ridiculous to me. It really is. The dance moves themselves just seem silly to me.
Yeah, I love them all. But anyway, whether they're good or not, because I will tell you, I think, again, I do a lot of differences between what I like and what is good.
Sure.
I think the movie I like and is also good. I can see where maybe I just like the end sequence and maybe it's not that great. But the thing that I do like about it is it does incorporate everybody into it.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of solves a lot of the problems that have been caused all through the way. Is, you know, the father actually sees her as an adult woman.
Yep.
And sees that through dance. The mother, again, kind of was like, oh yeah, see, I taught her that. So you can see the mother coming into it. And then obviously the jump is important because she was not able to do that on stage up until that point.
Right.
So it again shows her losing her inhibitions and giving in and giving up to another person. So being vulnerable to another person. So the lift was important in the end sequence. And Patrick Swayze, have you heard the story of him jumping off the stage?
Yeah, he hurt himself.
Well, no, he is a true dancer, and so he had really bad knees. And he told the director, I got one jump in me. I will do it, it'll wreck my knees, but I got one jump, so you better get it. And so he got it.
Okay. I thought I had heard that
Yeah.
he injured himself, but
Well, I think he probably hurt himself in that it hurt, but he didn't like actually injure himself, but he told him that he wouldn't do more than one jump.
and I also want to be clear on something. For the dancing, most of the dancing I really do enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick and the blonde girl, whose name I apologize, I can't remember.
Oh, she's great.
Those two
Penny.
were great together as a dance partnership. The moves that they were able to do, and I'm sure they practiced it, but even still, you have to be good and have a familiarity
Yes.
with your partner to be able to pull off the fluidity that they had, which was phenomenal. Like those two, when they were dancing, I was in for it. I like good dancing. I just don't like the choreo.
Staged dancing.
Yeah, the choreographed dancing, and like I've never really liked shoulder dancing. There's a lot of shoulder dancing in that end scene.
So I agree with you, and again, you can tell that those two are professional dancers, and you see it when they come together. I am super into shoulders, so therefore I enjoy that on many, many levels. But I just, again, I think it is a coming of age story through a woman's eyes and lens with a gorgeous man as the object of her affection, and a lot of women my age. This is the first time they saw that.
The last thing that I'll say that I definitely enjoyed, which I think enhances the movie overall, is the soundtrack.
Oh, yes.
And I'm not talking the hits from this movie. I'm talking the soundtrack that's actually played during the movie. There's
You mean the 60s
yeah,
soundtrack?
a lot of it is Wilson Pickett, who
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of.
Agree.
So that the soundtrack was perfect and got me hooked. If it had been more of like the teeny bopper kind of one hit wonder things of the time, I think it would have taken me out of it. But Wilson Pickett, he's kind of dirty already. Like
Yes.
there's just a slight, like he has a beautiful voice, but it's also a slightly dirty voice.
Yeah.
So that fits with what they're doing and what's going on. So it was perfect choice for the soundtrack.
I can see that, and actually, since you say that, I forgot. There's a friend of mine in college. His one note on the movie was he hated the title song. He hated "I Have the Time of Life." He said that's the only song that doesn't fit in the movie, and I don't think he's wrong.
That one, and I gotta be honest.
She's like the wind. It's a terrible song.
It is not a good song.
It is a terrible song. I'll give you.
Yeah, but we probably should acknowledge that song was a massive hit. I can't remember when this came out, but this was a summertime movie. I remember.
Yes, summer '87.
And that song
I think.
was like the summer jam. It was everywhere.
Well, and again, everybody had the cassette in their thing, and also the Dirty Dancing dancers became a road show.
Yeah, I remember that.
They came to the Cumberland County Civic Center. People went to go see them.
I think my mom was one of them. To
I
be
wouldn't be
perfectly
surprised.
honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No. This was a phenomenon. What happened? And there was a sequel called Havana Nights, starring two different people. Patrick Swayze made a cameo in it. But I never saw it because I do not want to taint my love for Dirty Dancing.
Again, I want to thank you because I have struggled with this movie. Not the movie, but how sometimes...
Love and adoration for it.
Correct. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense to me because I don't have the right sensibility for it, or just it doesn't hit me in a particular way, and I can understand why this one doesn't because I wasn't an adolescent teen when this movie came out. So I had my things that I could latch onto. That makes so much more sense. So again, I thank you for that because now I can check that off the box and not have to ponder that anymore because I have been for decades.
Glad to help, and also just with this exercise, it's hard to explain what you love.
Yes, it is.
But had fun rewatching it.
Anything else about your number 7 or 6?
Nothing else.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.